How to Create a Realistic Daily Schedule by Shayla Coleman. Strategies for Effective Time Management. Effectively managing our time might be difficult, but these strategies can help make this an easier process and increase our productivity. These aren't the only strategies to effectively manage our time, but these are very good examples of what we can use to help ourselves. To-do lists can specify each task that you need to do leading up to the completion of a larger task. My to-do list, for example, could have one task with a few subtopics, which makes it less overwhelming. For example, my first task could be to write a memoir about myself. My subtasks could be to brainstorm what experience or life event I will write this memoir about, outline the memoir, and figure out how everything will flow through my writing, write my rough draft, and finally my fourth subtask would be to revise the rough draft and make edits. These subtasks would all lead up to having the memoir written, revised, and proofread again. Then after this, it'll either be good or you might want to make a few revisions. Either way, the next step would be start writing the final draft of the memoir. A planner or bullet journal could be used to keep track of these to-do lists, or just keep track of the classes that you have and at what times, when the assignments are due and assigned, and the other important events in your life. When planners could have a set outline, bullet journals allow creativity for someone to create their own outline. Some students might just like seeing the big picture, and they might write everything they need to complete that day in one list. Other students might want more structure to stay on task, which could mean setting reminders for themselves throughout the day so they can stay on track. All of these methods are useful, and you can even mix and tweak different methods of time management to fit your needs and how you best process the tasks. Time management includes reflection. Managing our time can be a very daunting task where it seems like there is no set place to start. With less guidelines to our schedule from others, we can misuse the time we have. Taking prior knowledge of a task that you might not have liked or thought was very tough would give you an understanding of the behavior you displayed through the process of completing that said task, how you might be able to approach the task at a different angle, and/or how you could stay engaged by changing your strategies for completing the task. Keeping motivation through a task, whether that be time-consuming or an advanced task, is important because it can boost the quality of your work when you feel inspired. So finding something that motivates you is very important to keeping you more engaged in both the completion of the task and the reflection of the task afterwards. Planning both short-term and long-term can help identify a motivation for you. Also, when planning, you can see your goals and what you want to achieve, which can be a stepping stone to planning how to get there. For example, my short-term goal might be to complete my first 2 years of higher education at a community college, then transfer my credits over to a public university. This goal would require me to take courses towards the major that I'd like to have at the public university, or I could take a majority of my general education courses at the community college with some core classes as well. After those 2 years, I would transfer over to the public university. Now, the long-term goal could be to graduate from that university with my bachelor's in biology, but these goals should be more specific than just saying that you want to complete an associate's or bachelor's. Including the degree, what it's for, what you want to do with that degree would be a great start. But also including how you would get there is even better. How can we reflect? Self-judgment is important when we reflect on the certain outcomes of a task, not particularly the process itself. That's where self-reaction comes in. We can reflect on the emotional responses we had during the process of completing the task. These two forms of reflection are not the only two, but they are very important to the reflection process and understanding how to improve our productivity. For example, if I had just written a 4-page research essay and I reflected on the night where I felt I lost motivation because none of my research or resources were exactly the ones I wanted. This would tell me that I need to review more resources and maybe seek more help from a professor in that field or any other adept individuals who can assist me in finding the exact things I'm looking for. Another way I could reflect on this essay would be to look at the time I devoted to the specific part of the process I was currently working on then. I could also reflect on the general amount of time I initially gave myself to complete the task. Although I have given an example about reflecting on the time it took me to complete a portion or the whole task, that isn't the only thing you can reflect on in your process. You can reflect on the amount of effort you put into completing a portion or the entire task. Take a look at your environment, such as the time of day, your surroundings, and/or distractions you encountered. Reflection on these things are incredibly important to learn what might distract you, how much you tried during a specific task, which could tell you if you got bored during continuous tasks or even discouraged when a task became challenging. Knowing all of these things will allow you to become more productive and achieve more than you expected to. What to take away? Self-reflection is a big part of understanding how to manage your time. Knowing your past experiences with the specific or similar tasks can allow you to reflect on the mistakes you made previously, as well as presently. With the knowledge of past tasks, you can create a more efficient way of completing them. Strategies such as a planner, to-do lists, calendars, reminders, etc. improve on your time management. Knowing yourself is equally as important as knowing which strategies to use for your time management. For example, someone might be able to stay focused when someone starts talking to another person in the room, or if someone passes by them. Others might not be able to hold the same focus when things happen. It is different for everyone, so knowing how you will react, avoid distractions, use your time to the fullest, and be efficient in completing your tasks is very important. Planning your long-term and short-term goals are very important to your time management because you won't know what to do to get yourself to your goals unless you look at what you want, start planning out how to get there, and follow those steps towards your goals, as well as reflecting on what you've done previously and what you can do in the future to make sure that you achieve those goals.